Hello to no one in particular. This is me demonstrating my new away screen. And here we are. I've added a couple updates to the look, which I like. And I just wanted to highlight here Caltrop Core Jam. Less than 10 hours away. Gotta finish this bad boy. Gotta put it outside. Gotta launch it. Here's the current store page. Nothing. Including that that name is temp, so super nothing. So let's just yeah. Just a moment. All right. Now, theoretically, allegedly, I put an audio output here, so it should capture audio from my computer. So let's get some mood music. And you know what I discovered? Speed Racer video game soundtrack. Kinda slaps. Kinda pretty good. All right. So, working title, Mach 5, Caltrop Core racing game. Inspired by, you guessed it, Speed Racer. That red is awfully aggressive. Is that better? It matches now. I think it's a little better. It's maybe not quite right, but it is better. Okay, updated the sheet, so now you have your player name, but then your racer name and their vehicle name. I got too many words here, but type the name of your sick-ass race machine here. It's pretty good. I kept it kind of generic, because I don't necessarily want it to be cars, because like if someone wants to add a boat or a, you know, I don't know, hoverboard, or fucking one of those swamp boats with the big propeller. Like, if you want to have a race with that, like, nothing in the rule says you can't. Rival. They got their nickname. They're Steez, which is maybe not the right word, but I want, like, you know, a gimmick, a visual gimmick, as part of them. No real names, nicknames only. Personality. How did your rival earn your ire? They said rude things to my dog on my dog's birthday. Nasty boy. Gear, overdrive, rival. Feel like should be more like that. Just in terms of how it's lining up. Probably means that this should similarly be like that. So I've been rethinking the core mechanic. The most important design decisions always happen off camera. First of all, I'm going to test something. This is a test. Oh, look at that. Yeah, my little chat box showed up. Cool. Probably put it above. Always show messages. Test 2. And then theoretically that should just stay up there. Test 3. Yeah. That's cool. That's pretty good. I like that. Okay. So, the most important design work happens off screen. So here's what I'm thinking. Before, what I was doing was the core mechanic was you start with a dice pool equal to the number of points you have in your skills. But I don't really like that because what that implies is that if you've got 3 freeform skills, if you can type in whatever you want, why would I not just always use the one with the most points in it? This is a consistent challenge. So one of the ways to do that is to just assume that players are going to use the most that they can, and whatever gives them the highest thing, and then give them a lot to pick from, and then it's more about just flavor. That works pretty well. It also works to kind of narrow the scope if you want. But what I'm coming to is maybe it's just a binary. Maybe it's just kind of a patina of you are giving yourself 3 different approaches and then picking the one that feels the most apt in the situation. That's an okay way to handle it. The fact that these don't quite line up is kind of bugging me. But maybe I'm kind of bugging. Maybe it's actually not a big deal. So, let's say that you have let's just get rid of this. You can always add it back. In fact, we will duplicate this just to have a backup in case we want to turn back the clock. But other than that, let's just do that. Players have 3 different approaches. They can type in whatever they want. Fury. Heart. And then however they're going to approach whatever they're doing, they're going to call out one of their skills, one of their qualities, one of their drives. That's pretty good. So maybe drive isn't one of them. And then as part of the action, they declare, as the action they're taking, part of it is that they declare what aspect they're using. 2, 3, 1, 2. This is like honestly like design by layout. And now I'm like, maybe I'll add a 7th box just for symmetry reasons. It hit 7 overdrive. And it's either going to be called overdrive or burnout. Not sure which. We'll stick with overdrive for now, but I want the idea to be like you're pushing yourself. You're really forcing yourself like to the knife's edge, and it's dangerous to do that. So let's try this again. Core resolution. You roll dice, you say what you want to do, and then you do it. The highest dice determines your success. You can either have a full success, a partial success, a failure, or a catastrophic failure. Or critical success. But I feel like that makes sense to me. And maybe define them slightly. You don't get what you want. It's the worst outcome. All players lose position. Partial success. You do it, but you do it. Critical success. You get your even more than you anticipated. So the thing about this version of it, this is so analogous to the Blades in the Dark resolution system, which is my favorite dice resolution system, but it's totally freeform. It's totally open-ended. And do I want that totally open-ended quality to it? Because the reason that it works with being totally open-ended is because of position and effect. And I don't think I want this game to have position and effect. I think I want it to be simpler than that. But if I remove that, then what's to stop someone from saying, you know, the move I'm going to do is me, you know, getting to first place, getting to the head of the pack. well, that shouldn't be allowed, but like, what kind of constraints can we put on that? Before I was talking about like maybe it's moves, you know, maybe it's similar to Powered by the Apocalypse. Like what happens depends on your position or what happens. Sloppy. I'm not explaining myself well, but there's no viewers here, so like, who are you, random person who's watching this on archive? This is bad content. It's fine. I don't give a shit. This is for me, not you. I do wish there was someone here just so they could tell me if the background music was working. I'm trying to square the circle of... So, okay. Let's talk about how Powered by the Apocalypse works and why I'm having trouble reconciling them. Powered by the Apocalypse has 3 levels of success. You have full success, mixed success, and failure. And on failure, the same thing always happens. The GM is allowed to make a hard move, which is open-ended. It can be whatever. On a mixed success, the game wants to curate, you know, what is happening, what you're doing. And that's, you know, largely where the game lives. We're not dealing with 3 levels of success. We're dealing with 5 levels of success. We've got critical success, partial success, full success, partial success, failure, and catastrophic failure. Catastrophic failure is actually pretty easy because that's I'm dictating what that means. That means all players lose position as part of the failure of the action. Which seems really unfair, but it also seems pretty unlikely that anyone's going to roll high ones. You shouldn't really be rolling 1 dice. I think you're always going to be rolling more than 1. So, moves. Do I want to have moves? I'm not entirely sure. If I did, I would probably ditch the freeform stats. I would probably lock them down more. But here's, okay, now I'm finally segueing into what I was talking about before, about rethinking the core mechanics. I'm ditching the stats, and maybe I'll ditch them completely, because what I was thinking of is high gear, mid gear, low gear. And that would be your starting dice pool. High gear, you're only going to have 1d. Mid gear, you're going to have 2d. Low gear, you're going to have 3d to start. And then plus bonus dice. Oh, I interpreted that as a bullet. That's interesting. Your bullets are... Fine, we can make it a bullet point list. Starting dice pool. Bonus dice. Gain overdrive. Gain +1 overdrive for +1 dice. Shift. I haven't even thought about shift since I came up with that early on. And that's like going to be a important mechanic. Devil's Bargain. I don't think that Devil's Bargain necessarily fits in this game. Break something. The idea was like you're damaging your car, you're pushing it past its limits, but that feels harsh. stunt, high risk, high reward. Anything less than a 4 is a catastrophic failure. Okay, so if player declares that whatever they're doing is a stunt, that instantly compresses the possibility space of the dice pool. 4 or bust. Which means that they're going to be pushing themselves to get well. So what do they get from it? They get gain plus 1d. So that's for if you're really going for broke. You're spending your overdrive. You're declaring that you are confident that you are going to roll a 4. You're rolling 5 dice. And in those 5 dice, one of them is going to be a 4. You're confident. And you got a 4. So you did the thing. You do it again. You didn't get a 4. You blow it. And so now it's a penalty not just for you, but for your whole team. Is that too much? That's too much. I think that the penalty for that can't be a catastrophic failure. Anything less than a 4, and you crash. Which means that you might as well spend that overdrive, because if you blow it, then you're not getting... If you don't spend your overdrive and you fail, then you have just wasted it. You aren't getting to take advantage of that resource because your overdrive is going to reset and you're going to show up in the back of the pack. So you lose big. But also, overdrive is a finite resource, and I feel like this is a good risk reward. I feel like this is encouraging you to overplay your hand, you know. And plus, hopefully players will be doing stunts as part of the final push of the final lap, you know. So you start with 3 dice. Okay, starting dice pool. High gear, mid gear, low gear. I think that is equal to position in Blades of the Dark. So you're basically gambling. If you're in low gear and you blow it, you're only going to go back 1 position. If you're in high gear and you blow it, you might go back 3 positions, which is a big deal when there's only 5 positions. But also, it means that you advance farther. You know, it's about pushing your luck. I don't have dice math here, but I will put up my handy dandy. The secret to my success, the most important JPEG of them all, which is my dice probability. Now, this is for Forged in the Dark. It's for D6s, but, like, the principle is the same. It's just a matter of, you know, recalibrating it, which I didn't make it in the first place, so I'm not gonna. But as you can see from that, the odds, like getting an extra dice matters a ton when it goes from the difference between 0 dice and 1 dice, 1 dice and 2 dice, 2 dice and 3 dice. Those are really big leaps. You are really mitigating failure. 3 to 4, still good, still important. 4 to 5, now we're in the margins. 5 to 6, not that different. So it has a really nice kind of curve where like the more dice you get, it doesn't change the odds that much. It's those early dice that really make a difference. So this current system, if you can spend as much overdrive as you want, and you have a total of 7 before you crash, that means players can just go hog wild and roll like a total of 10 dice if they wanted to. 3 dice for low gear, 1 for a stunt, 4, and then 6 for bonus dice if they wanted to absolutely, go nuts. $10 dice. Not a 4 in the lot. You would blow it with 10 dice. That's awesome. That rules. And now we've got plenty of 4s. But the point is that, like, even with 10 dice, it's not necessarily guaranteed. It's very likely. But that's why I really like this, Blades in the Dark dice pool, pick the highest. Like, the math of it feels very satisfying. It's very tangible. There's no floating modifiers. It's just really good. It works for me. So let's say you're rolling 2 dice because you're being conservative. You are, rolling in mid-gear with 2 dice, and that's it. Like, even that, that feels pretty good still. Like, oh, double 1s. Which, again, I think will be rare. So I think I like this simple risk-reward system of how much do you want to advance? Versus your current dice pool. And let's say you're in first place. And when you are in first place, you have to make a roll every segment of the lap in order to maintain first place. Which is to say the head of the pack, not first place. If you're in the head of the pack, you need to make a dice roll in order to stay at the head of it, which means that you don't need to do anything higher than a low gear roll, right? You get to start with 3 dice. That's interesting. What would a crit look like if you are already in first? Does that mean that you get to... Maybe we need to make a list of, what are... pick 3? High gear. 1 dice. 2, start. Pick 3. 2, start. Pick 2. 1 dice, 2, start. pick one. On success. How to phrase this? Equal risk and reward. Its position and effect. So, let's say that you get a mixed result in high gear. That means you get to pick 3 good things that happen and 3 bad things that happen. Or 3 points worth of that, or a level 3 severity of it. Let's just try typing it out. Consequences. Let's call them boons. Boons and consequences. Boons. Consequences. Okay, so obvious boon. Move. Let's formalize this language. Gain position. Consequences, lose position. Rival loses position. And opponent level with you loses position. Rival gains position. And opponent level with you pulls ahead. Situation worsens. You gain overdrive. That's a consequence. You gain. Not a boon. An ally gains position. As a consequence, your complication strikes. Your rival pulls some bullshit. So is there any design space that this doesn't cover? And at this point, I feel like we have successfully answered the question of how do we encourage players from taking risks? Like the overdrive stuff I feel like is doing a good job with that. We've answered that question. What does advancement look like? We've answered that question. This is mostly answered. What do complications look like? Complications are start of the game come into play as a consequence. Each player has a complication, not the team. Yeah, so we've solved that design problem. Rivals, still working through a little bit. How to prevent the players from using the same action for everything by removing actions. Those are potential names. That's a little bit better. I should be doing it at increased zoom. Right. Gain bonus dice when engaging with a rival. I like that quite a bit. Gain +1 D when acting against your rival. Yes, that feels good. Gain +1 overdrive. Gain +1 D by increasing overdrive by 1. So right now the only thing that... Hello, one viewer. Nice to have someone pop in. We are currently working on Mach 5, which is my Speed Racer inspired tabletop role-playing game for the Caltrop Core Jam. The Caltrop Core Jam, as can be seen here, ends in about 9 hours. So, gotta get that done. Working on the core resolution system, the core mechanics. And right now I'm thinking out loud about removing basically stats from characters. At least not having that be how players build their dice pool. Maybe it'll be something that, I keep. Maybe it's like a finite resource and they can like burn a stat or something. But right now, I don't think it's working for me. Let's think about shift. So burnout, no. Overdrive? We'll call it overdrive. I was kind of waffling on that. Overdrive is going to be kind of the resource that players accumulate. It's a resource to spend, but you don't want to get too much of it. Because if you get too much of it, if you get 7 points of overdrive, then you crash. You reset your overdrive meter, but you're going to end up at the back of the pack of racers. So it's about spending it when it's useful, but not going too hard. Or maybe it's about, strategically crashing in order to set someone else up for failure or for success. Yeah. Let's brainstorm overdrive. over. Oh, also, one viewer, could you tell me if you can hear the background music? Because I've been trying to get that to work, and it's been eluding me. Overdrive is the resource that you gain. It's like stress from Blades in the Dark. So you gain overdrive as you push yourself and your vehicle to their limit. How do you spend overdrive? Spend overdrive to gain bonus dice. Overdrive can be gained as a consequence. Gain overdrive. You're gaining overdrive, not spending it. Gain overdrive to activate your car's gear, which is like their cool bonus moves. And then also, I kind of want there to be an ability that's just called, like, Nitro. No, it's gain overdrive to resist to you don't resist. You're driving a car, you recover. And recovering from consequences is simply roll 1d4, gain that much overdrive. It's a cat feeder in the background. And then, yeah. Gain overdrive to shift the scene. You gain between 1 and 3 overdrive, depending on the complexity. Shift is similar to flashbacks in Blades in the Dark. Now I'm starting to feel that that's too small of a number. Let's add 2 more. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Because we want players to use it. We don't want them to be too gun-shy about it. Eye patches on both eyes. How does he see? Personality. Aloof and posh. It's a snobs versus slobs situation when you're racing against Nasty Boy. Encrusted with diamonds. He's a wealthy Nasty Boy. Let's totally increase, the size of the document, because we want to start adding, like, here are the rules, here is how you play. Action roll. When you assemble a pool of dice and roll, the highest number gives you your result. It's actually reverse. Four, 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 3, 2, okay, that's the basics. Building your dice pool. Starting dice pool, high gear, mid gear, metal gear, low gear, bonus dice, stunt, roll lower than a 4 and you crash. punch it. I don't really like underlining, but that'll do it for now. Rivalry. I also prefer this exclamation point formatting rather than the equals. That's pretty okay. Let's So, subtle wording distinction. Right now, it's gain +1d by increasing overdrive by 1. That leaves ambiguity for, can I only do it once? Which the answer is no. So, gain +1d for every point of overdrive you increase. Sloppy wording on that. But the sentiment is there. For every +1 overdrive. That makes sense to me. That feels pretty good. Okay. Let's do shift. Shift the scene. It might shift to the past to show how you prepared for a problem. Shift to a support character to show how they're assisting you off screen. Or shift to the villain's perspective to show them making a crucial error. Gain 1 to 3 momentum depending on how elaborate the scene is. Momentum was what it was called. Now it's overdrive. Because if we can get, like, again, the Speed Racer movie is, like, the primary influence for this. And the way that that movie shifts between past and present, seeing, you know, Speed Racer as a kid, looking up to his brother, Rex Racer, and then suddenly we're in the race, and, you know, we're watching him in the past, but now we're watching Speed in the present, and he's racing the ghost of his brother, and, like, those things are happening all at once and simultaneously, and that's really, like, the kind of thing that I want to emulate. I think that's a very fun idea. And, of course, it's called Shift. It's a driving pun. Everything should be a driving pun. Next is Crash. If you gain too much overdrive, you crash, literally or metaphorically. You're out for this stretch of the race as you fall behind. Gain a detrimental condition. That was a temporary thing. I don't think I need to do that. Clear all overdrive. At the start of the next stretch, make an engagement roll to re-enter the pack from the rear. Yeah, I don't think I want that. Start of the next stretch, you re-enter the pack from the rear. Yeah. And is that the whole game? It'd be nice if that was the whole game. Resist. That has been changed to recover. Upgrade the result of a roll by increasing your momentum by the lowest dice that you rolled. No, that is no longer true. This always happens, where I have to... I want the whole game to be just, like, easily visible on one screen, but then it gets kind of big because you're trying to fit the whole game on there. Recover. From the consequences of a roll. You do not suffer those consequences. Roll 1d4 and mark and gain. Consistency in language is important. That much overdrive. So I'm trying to anticipate how players are going to behave. There's almost a strategy of maybe you want to crash at the end of the second lap, so then you have a fresh overdrive meter, and then you can try to push your way up and you know, just hit it exactly right at the finish line. would be tricky. Temporary upgrades / power-ups. It's a fun idea. This is a one-shot game, so keeping it from being too complicated is really important. So, between temporary upgrades / power-ups and that little blurb that I have during the shift dialogue, which is shift to a support character to show how they're assisting you off screen. Do I want players to create like an assist character as well as a rival? You know, they create their own pit crew or whatever. Or is that a layer of complexity too much? Not sure. Let's add it anyways. It's fine. We've got 8.5 hours. Can do this all day. So, we're creating an anti-rival, which is a support character. Unlike the rival, they get a name, not a nickname. How did your rival, or how did your support character, I don't like that. Earn your loyalty. I like that. Personality, steez also feels like the wrong word. That's the word for both of them. Vibe. Is that the word for both of them? I don't think it's word. I think it's the word for the ally, not the rival. We'll call them your ally. How did your ally earn your loyalty? It would be nice if these were one smaller. There we go. And now it lines up with this, which is just tidy. Tidy's good in my book. Allies and rivals. I don't know what to put here. Okay, so that's kind of the core mechanic. Let's see how close we are to our original concept. Team racing, car combat, positioning, rivalry, racetrack building, flashbacks, car gadgets, win condition. Yeah, pretty much nailed it. So that's fun. Right, overdrive. Let's properly list that out. I wish that this had bullet points. If you gain 9, if you hit 9 overdrive, you crash. This does feel redundant. If we could get this over there, that would be ideal. But we might be removing, like, character stats entirely. So maybe we'll just expand. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There we go. That's pretty good. So I got it formatted Enter the Survival Horror. I use these little bullets, so what's a That's pretty funny. That's not bad. That's not bad. I could also put with this awkward middle column. Nope, don't like that. Oh, hey Moss. Looking great so far. I should look around in Google Sheets to learn how to do this kind of design. You should. Here's the secret. Just like take this or the ECB one or the Enter the Survival Horror one or whatever one that you think is cool and just steal from it. Like, you know, just literally copy paste, reverse engineer, do whatever, and figure out how they work, because it is a cool skill to learn. There's also a bunch of helpful YouTube videos. Also, Moss, can you hear the music? Because it's going ham. Okay, so don't need overdrive. And that sounds like that is going to be the end of my, no music. Okay, let me crank it. Can you hear it? But regardless, I'm going to be bouncing in just a second. Barely, but yes. I'm gonna, it's catching the music with the speaker. It's not supposed to be doing that, so. Well, that is a problem for another day. Thanks again for joining me. Appreciate you hanging out. Gotta get this done. Take care.